Welcome to a special episode from Your Teen Magazine and Cultivating Roots, where we tackle the teen years head on.
Let's be real. These years can feel like a roller coaster. One minute you're laughing together, the next, slam doors.
We are teen experts and co-founders of Cultivating Roots. Caitlin, a licensed marriage and family therapist here.
I'm Aaliyah, a credentialed school counselor.
And I'm Hannah, a credentialed high school special ed teacher. In each episode, we answer the real, raw, and tough questions parents are asking about school, mental health, identity struggles, and everything in between.
And if you've ever thought, who is this kid, or am I messing this up? And I promise you're not. You're definitely not alone.
We give honest answers, practical tools, and ways to connect with your teen.
So whether you're walking the dog, stuck in traffic, or winding down after a long day, welcome. Let's dive into it, you guys.
This is a Monday that feels like a Friday.
Remember on Friday when we were all together? That was so nice.
I know it was.
So special.
I was trying to think what is the last time that when is the last time the three of us were together, just the three of us, like hanging out,
Not working.
not working.
I know. We're
Just
together all the
three
time.
of us. I know. Truly all the time.
We're together all the time. We see each other all the time, but it's like we're with our families, we're with our friend group, we're at work, we're working
Our
on
kids are
Cultivating
there.
Roots. Like there's
Yeah.
always something else. It was so nice.
This was just like pure hanged Thai food, Real
Just
Housewives,
Wine.
feet up on the
But only-
couch.
Oh,
only
yeah, your poor feet.
my feet. Aaliyah was
Yeah.
being my nurse. She was fluffing
I
my
was.
pillows.
I was so
And
happy
Hannah,
to
you were
like
there
care
for moral
you.
support. It was so
It was
nice.
Well, I
I
feel like
felt so
Caitlin,
nurtured.
you're such a natural caretaker, and I like relished in the opportunity to be able to care for you.
I feel like
was-
I froze and I didn't know what to do because I never done
You were like, that's
No,
not
you're
what I
a
was
great
for.
caretaker in other
Like
ways.
like Aaliyah really stepped up in that like older child role, and like she really did a great
Well,
job.
I think because
She
my
did a great
kids
job.
were on their best behavior that night,
They
so
were
I
so
had like a
delightful.
reserve of energy to be able
Oh.
to really just like give you
I'm
what you
so glad
needed.
I got to soak it in. So
I know.
I'm in the end of my pregnancy and I'm very swollen, and unfortunately it's not very cute. And I
No,
need to
it's
elevate
not.
my
But
leg.
like, is pregnancy cute?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I've
felt
been
my
pregnancy
lucky.
is
I've been
cute.
lucky. It's been good so far, but there's no separation between really my knee and my foot. Like it's all one. Like knee to
You're
foot.
not. You're
That's
not.
funny.
Not like that's not
I'm
not
not.
true.
It's not true. Yeah. I was on
It's
the
not
phone
not
with
true.
the nurse today and she was like, how far does the swelling go up? I was like, my thigh? She was
Was
like,
she
really?
oh
I was
my
like,
god!
it's all one. It's just one piece.
All one.
And then
all
you
one.
guys were out late last night.
I know. Well, we had
Yeah.
a day yesterday because Hannah and I started the day with
Oh my
You went-
God.
our
You went to
combined
3
5
counties.
children.
You
I
went to
know.
4 counties. 4 counties in one day.
Okay. Our combined 5 children, Hannah and I, and our husbands, we took our kids. They
was
wanted
really
to go on a boat. And so actually this is an activity that we talked about in an article that we were featured in, but an adventure jar that
Yeah.
we do with my
Parents
kids where we
Magazine.
like write down ideas. Yeah, it's featured in Parents Magazine that the kids come up with. And then if we don't have plans on the weekend, we like pick one at the beginning of the week to do that weekend. So my son Judah had picked out like a boat ride, and obviously like, you know, the boat ride was going on the ferry from Marin to San Francisco. And literally the excitement that he had, it was
so
as if he was
excited.
going on a yacht. It was like,
Yeah.
we got the
He was-
yacht. And he had
was
to invite his
Luann
cousins.
being like, we got the yacht for Housewives fans. He
Luann,
was
we got the yacht. Yeah.
like
It
full
was
force.
Full force.
It
So
was so
Talking about it for
cute.
weeks.
yes. I mean, so yeah, by
So you
almost 1
Sonoma
o'clock,
County
we
to
had
Marin
gone
County. Marin
Yeah.
County to San Francisco, back to Sonoma,
back
then
by
to
1.
Oakland, then to Alameda County. 4
Yeah,
counties one
and
day.
then Caitlin and I went with our girlfriends to to see a show at the Fox Theater in Oakland. And actually, there was some other swelling because Hannah was supposed to come, but she had some kind of allergic reaction. And she was having
Yeah.
some swelling
We're
situations going
Right, but not
swelling.
not
We're
like
so
Kate.
swollen.
One thing that was so funny about the boat, like the kids, my boys, like couldn't wrap their head around what it looked like. So it went from like we were going canoeing, and I was like, no, we're not going canoeing, and then it was like we're going on a cruise ship, and I was like, nope, it's not a cruise ship. Like
I
it
know.
was really
It's
cute.
Well,
so like it felt so special to just see public transit through their eyes. Like it was so
Yeah,
magical for them.
it's like
it was.
Truly
seeing it
though.
through my eyes. I'm a
It's
huge
yeah,
public
you
transit person.
love public transit.
All of our friends make fun of me because like I'm not opposed to getting on a bus.
But like
And like I love it. I thrive on public transit. And
You
so I said
do.
that what I want for my birthday is I want us to take the bus, the train, and the ferry. So I'm just so proud of
Planes,
you
trains, and
guys because
automobiles.
literally every form. There's just nothing better than being toted around.
the
I
cutest
love
part though
it.
was that Judah kept reminding us that like we
Oh,
wouldn't
I
have been
know.
there unless he
Yeah.
invited us. Like he kept saying like,
Oh,
"Aren't you so glad I invited you?"
Yeah. He's like,
yeah.
you wouldn't be here unless I had invited you. Like
He's unaware of the term public in the transit of it all. He's
right,
like, this is my
right,
transit. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh my
God. That is
gosh.
too funny. Well, I'm so glad you all really embraced your inner public transit selves. And I
We
can't wait to go on that
did.
I
adventure with you one day because it
know.
makes me
It was
happier.
so easy, and it was like
Well,
so great to just be
fun.
dropped off at the ferry building. There's so much to do right
Yeah.
there. We took the
Don't have
kids
to
to a
park.
park. Yeah, it just was so nice. And like for the kids too, just to wrap their head around the fact that like people come from all over the world to San
I
Francisco, and like
know. I
we can just
know.
hop on a ferry and we're
Oh, we're
there.
so
Like
lucky.
we are so lucky. Yeah. For more than one reason, we're very lucky.
We might be
Yes.
swollen, but
Yes.
we're very lucky. We're swollen
Yes.
Yes.
and
I mean,
happy.
I'm not speak for yourselves. I'm not swollen. Yet.
Not
Yet.
yet.
Wait, also, this is so random, but okay, do you listen to Andy Cohen's like Daddy Diaries podcast?
Oh,
It's
I
basically his
don't,
radio
but
show
okay.
with
Yeah.
okay. But basically he was talking about this interview that um is she a princess? Megan, whatever,
She's
Harry's
a duchess.
Duchess Megan did,
Mhm.
where like they were talking about this concept of yet. Like the interviewer she was talking to, she was like, "Yeah, I just like have found this concept that I use with my children if they say anything like, oh, I can't like ride my bike,' and she's like." Yet. And so like they just kept going
Mm.
on and on about like adding yet to everything. But Andy Cohen's like interpretation of that was so funny, him and John Hill. Anyways, this might be very niche, but I highly recommend it. In the show notes, maybe I'll put a link. We'll put a link to the episode or share it
Okay.
somehow if you're interested. I
It
know you
reminds
will
me
be,
of
Caitlin.
I just love it when like I wouldn't say Meghan Markle's self-help, but when self-help people like reframe a concept that's like
Right.
researched, like
Right.
what they're talking about is a growth mindset, right? And so a growth
Right.
mindset is
Right.
the idea that you instead of saying I can't do that, it's I can't do that yet. And
Right.
so she's just putting that little spin.
Right.
And
I
like
love
a
how
growth
you're
mindset
tying it
is
back
very
to like,
science.
bringing it back to like the topic at hand of
Thank
what
you.
we're here for. But just
Yes.
like hearing
But
her say like and yet to like
yes.
every little
And
thing, and then
yet.
Andy Cohen making fun of it like out. And
And
yet
yet.
it really
I
gave
need
me
to
a
watch
giggle.
Hannah and I went on a weekender where we went to San Diego for the weekend and
Oh yeah.
we watched Meghan Markle's whole first season, I
Mm,
think, in one weekend. And a second season just came out. So I guess we need to go to San
the first
Diego
show
It
on
and get a
did?
hotel
Netflix.
room. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, I can't wait. Thank you for
I
letting
think
me know.
yeah, of course.
People seem to have
Um,
strong
So
feelings about her.
they do.
yeah, I don't,
I
but
feel pretty
Yeah.
I mean,
neutral.
I feel neutral about
I
it, but
feel
I
neutral
definitely will
too.
watch. So I guess I'm into it.
Obviously, I'll watch.
Yeah.
I'll watch anything. There's nothing these eyeballs won't gander at.
That is not true.
It's
Well,
Not
this is
not
so
it
true.
is.
confusing. Your
Except for
I
sports.
know.
Except for
Y-
sports. These
Yeah.
eyeballs glaze right over when it
I
comes
know.
to
There
sports.
has to
But
be like a narrative, character development and a narrative.
character development, I need some
Love after
storyline.
lockup. there's character development and a
Sure.
narrative.
Want
McLean
people.
Dynasty, character development and a
Please.
narrative.
Exactly.
Wow.
I'm
You
really,
guys are really in your own world right now.
I know,
ah,
I know. Sometimes this
okay, let's
happens.
get
I'm
to
so sorry.
questions.
Okay,
Let's
let's
get
get
to
back on
questions.
topic because we could just
Yeah.
like
Okay.
chat all day.
Here, you want to give us the first
Okay.
one?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
So Sophie
we
from
got some good ones.
We do, and they're kind of long, so just bear with us. Okay, so
Okay.
Sophie from Portland, Oregon. My partner and I are caring for his teenage siblings, a 15-year-old brother and a 17-year-old sister, while they finish high school.
Wow.
Over the last months, they've been constantly pushing boundaries, and honestly, it's driving us a little crazy. They've been sneaking out, bending curfew, and even lying about where they're going. What actually works to show them some consequences without starting a full scale war at home? So that's the first question.
Okay.
She also continues, I'm curious, what are some natural or logical consequences that actually make teens take rules seriously? Do we need a
Mhm.
consequence for every single rule, or is there a smarter way to handle it? And how do we even word the rules so that they know that we mean business without it turning into a power struggle? Lots to
Okay.
dive into.
Yeah, in-depth one. It's also interesting because, like, we always say parents and caregivers, like, we're really careful about trying to use inclusive language, and I love that
Yeah.
this is, not, like, from a parent, it's from a caregiver.
Yeah. It
Right.
That's
is.
complicated, her and her partner. I'm curious what the age difference between them is, like, her
Yeah.
partner's teenage siblings. I'm curious if the partner has a big age gap or what it is, because I feel like that plays into a dynamic, especially with power struggles.
Yeah,
Mm,
and I think too, like what stands out, like my initial thought is it makes sense that they're pushing boundaries. They're in a new situation,
Mhm.
in a new home with new caregivers. Like they're
Right.
testing the boundaries. That's what kids do. That's even if they're a
Mhm.
teenager in new situations, they're finding out what the limits are.
Yeah.
So I wonder even off the bat if just acknowledging that reality to themselves and like with their siblings, if that could
Yeah.
be a good starting point. Like, yeah, I get it. Like you're 15 and 17. That's an older adolescent and you're coming into our
Mhm.
home and like what were the expectations and boundaries at your home before you came
Before.
here and like
it
what are
sounds
things
like
going to
you're
look like
getting
here?
curious. That's gonna be my slogan. If I had an opening line for Real Housewives, it would be something about being curious.
Oh, I love it.
Oh,
I also okay, not to sound like the therapist in the room, but I'm curious if
I
there's
mean, but
some
you are.
trauma.
You are.
Like, why are they now in your care? And I think that one thing that is really important when signing up to be a caregiver, first of all, kudos to you. This is not an easy task. It's not something that you can just take on and have roll into your life and have it not be a big deal, right? Like deciding to take care of your partner's teenage siblings is a big responsibility. And it's really impressive and admirable that you're willing to do that. And I think one thing, and I don't know what the situation is here, but one thing that just in my past history of working in like emergency foster care and that whole world, I think sometimes when people decide to be caregivers to children that need to be rehomed for whatever reason, they're moving into a different home environment. There's this concept, especially with an older kid, that there's going to be this like deep gratitude, this well of gratitude of like, thank you
Uh-huh.
so much for taking me in. We've seen that where we have kids that we
yes.
work with that need need a place to stay and somebody's willing to offer them that place
That's
and
so interesting. Yeah.
I think that one thing that I always would tell foster parents is you do not like you are willing to do this out of the goodness of your heart, which is beautiful, but every child deserves safety and stability and a home life. And because you are giving this to them, that is not something that they don't deserve. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, they still
Right.
deserve that to their core, and so they're
right.
still gonna push against those boundaries, they're still gonna bring their trauma to the game, like, it's all gonna show up, and it's gonna be
And that
messy
happens
and
like with parent to
complicated.
child too, right? Like
Right.
you
It
give your I
does.
mean, I give my kids lots of things and it's like I would love for them to acknowledge and appreciate it and they just don't
Right.
because they don't have that capacity. They don't
Right.
have, the ability to do that.
Totally, but I think there is this, sometimes, like, and again, this has nothing to do with, I can't Sophia, we obviously changed all the names, but this has
Yeah.
nothing to do with this person. I have no idea your background, but I do think that it is important to just open that up because a lot of times in the caregiving world, there's this, whether it's your siblings' kids or your partner's kids or whoever, there's this concept, or even step parents, like there's this concept that you're the
Yeah.
one that's showing up, you're the one that's there, you're going to be the
Right.
savior, and
Because
these
you're
kids are
making
going to
the
be
choice. You're making
so
the
grateful.
choice
Like,
to do it.
totally. I think of, the movie The Blind Side with, like, that saviorism
Oh,
concept
yeah.
Oh,
of,
uh-huh.
Very
like,
Uh-huh.
the
much.
way that they portrayed, like, oh, they took this kid in and they saved him, and that relationship is not what that movie made it seem, right? Like, that
Right.
Right.
person tells a very different story about his experience, and so I just think it's really important to always acknowledge that, like, every kid deserves safety and stability, and if you are the one providing that safety and stability, they're gonna push those boundaries whether or
Right.
not you decided to have these children or you're taking them in. And
I
so
love
just
that
knowing that
reframe.
Yeah.
going in, I think is
Yeah.
really important, that, like, they don't owe you something just because you're providing something
Right.
that you don't
Right.
legally have to
Right.
provide.
Right, like,
Right.
they don't need to be on their best behavior because
Yeah,
you're, like, offering them a
totally.
home and a stable environment.
Yeah, like,
Right.
they're still operating from a system of a developing brain,
Right,
and
and
so
probably
those
some kind
boundaries
of
are gonna get
trauma or
pushed.
disruption and
Right, but a lot of times, like, media and expectations show that, like, this kid is gonna be like, "You saved me, like, thank you so much, I wouldn't have been able to do
yeah,
this without you,"
yeah,
and sometimes that does happen, but when that does happen, it usually happens way later in life,
yeah,
or it happens and then there's boundary pushing and, like, it's complicated and messy, it's not all one. So I
yeah,
think it's great that you are asking these questions. It's great that you want to set those boundaries and remember that boundaries are love. Like, the things that we're listing here, you're sneaking out, bending curfews, lying about where they're going. Those are things that need to be contained. Those are safety things and they need to be contained. And providing
right.
that containment is providing the love and guidance that they're really asking for in this weird, twisted adolescent way.
And
So,
I think
yeah.
including them in the conversation is super
Yes.
important, especially
Yeah.
because of their ages and because I imagine that, I mean, I don't know, but I imagine that the age difference between you and your partner and them isn't like, decades. I imagine. And so there also might be potentially this dynamic of like, well, you're not that much older than me. Like, why are you
Mhm.
telling me what to do? So
Right.
including them in the conversation and letting them have some say in what those boundaries might look like. Obviously, like you said, Caitlin, some of them are like you need to
Right.
keep them safe and some boundaries that you set there are non-negotiable.
Mhm.
But I think there are other things where you can potentially have some flexibility if you include them in the conversation. And a lot of what we talk about with boundaries is connecting them to family values.
Mhm.
Because it's much easier for young people to understand and follow a boundary, operate within a boundary if they have context to why that boundary exists.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
I love that
We have a
too.
lot of support. We have, one of our entire modules is around
Modules. Yeah.
boundaries and how to shape them and form them, and I wish we could, like, get into all of that nitty-gritty right
I
now, but we
know.
don't have the time, but we do have the
I know.
resources, and so
Yeah.
we're here to support you in that way. But it's complicated. It's not just like an easy, "Oh, do this and
Right.
it'll solve the problem." Like, you really have to kind of get into it, and I don't know when they took them in, but I'm imagining that it was relative. Well, it says over the last 6 months, they've been pushing boundaries, but I don't know when they took them in, but you are establishing a family dynamic
Mhm.
Right.
in a
Your own
shorter amount of
system
time than if they
Right.
were your children and you had the 15 to 17 years to establish
To
that family
build that.
dynamic.
Yeah.
So that's a really important piece, and I wonder, like, having that foundation, right? If you're building a house, you gotta build the foundation first before you build the walls. So don't try to build the walls without the foundation.
Yeah. Which is why
Yeah.
I think including them in that conversation and connecting it talking about those family values together and creating them
Mhm.
together,
Yeah.
And
is especially
I think
important.
the other thing, and then we can maybe move on, but like the
Mhm.
lying part, I think just constantly reiterating, like, no matter what, like you won't get in trouble if you tell me the truth. You boundaries will be set. You might not be able to do certain things that you
Mhm.
want to do, but like you don't have to lie in order to get your needs met. Like you know
Right.
what I mean? Because I think that especially given the situation, like there needs to be this foundation of trust in order to build
Mhm.
connection and to
Definitely.
be able
Yeah.
to communicate and collaborate. And I wonder if like if they're lying about what's going on, they're obviously feeling like they can't express what their needs are, or they're fearful about, what the consequence might be if they are
Mhm.
honest.
Mhm.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
So
So I think
complex.
lots of foundational work is needed here. That would be
Definitely.
my main takeaway.
yeah.
Love it.
Should we go on to the next one?
Yeah. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Okay. So Lila from Denver, Colorado. So I'm a parent, and my teen has told me that other kids' parents are allowing drinking at home,
Mhm.
sometimes even hosting teen drinking parties because they're going, this is like, looks like in quotes, they're going to do it anyway. So better under supervision. Honestly, I struggle to understand this mentality. It feels like a serious liability, and I'm not sure what the actual benefit is. My goal isn't to judge, really. I'm just trying to understand the mindset behind this choice. Are there benefits I'm missing? Is there ever a situation where parents facilitating teen drinking actually makes sense? No.
Woo. No,
Yeah, that's a
absolutely.
That
tough
is a
one.
liability.
I mean, this is a black
I
and white
know.
one. This is black and
It
white.
really is. It's a black and white. I think that where it makes sense is like going back to the last question is you'll never be in trouble for like asking me for help,
Right.
right? Like if you're
Right.
drinking and you need me to come pick you up, you have a friend who's drank too much and you are worried about calling an ambulance, like you will never get in trouble for asking for help.
Right.
That's where the flexibility comes in. But having other people's children at your house and giving them alcohol is
Is
a
absolutely not
huge
I mean,
okay.
liability.
there have been cases where parents have
I
in
personally know
in
cases
yeah,
where
in the
parents
court of
I
were,
law
feel
have been held
hmm
liable.
yeah, I feel like it happens actually quite a bit. Like, I
it
hear
does. And
other
I mean,
kids
It's really
talking about
scary.
it's really scary.
if
I
if
remember,
you have
Leah, we
any
went to
type
a,
of,
party in high school and the parents
Oh,
were home and
yes, and
yeah,
I know, I went
we
to one
picked up
all the
our
time.
friend,
friend,
and the
yeah,
mom was, like, not wanting us to take her with us, and she was, like, throwing up, our friend, we won't name her, um, and we were like, "N no, like, we
like
are
taking
taking
her
her with us,
home.
like, we are sober, she is not staying here in your home."
Yeah.
Like, it was
Yeah, it
yeah.
was weird.
Scary. Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of friends in high school whose parents allowed drinking. And at the time, like, I didn't think anything of it. But then as an adult, if you have any type of like professional license credential, we would all lose our credentials and licenses
Oh,
if
yeah.
we allowed that in our own home. And so I think falling back on that, I mean, it's kind of nice because it's not even like your decision. You know what I mean? Like if she's
Right.
saying this is what everybody's doing, you can easily be like, I'm not willing to put like my license or credential or career on the line or freedom
Somebody
because if something
else's.
yeah, I mean, I know somebody who potentially was going to face jail time for a situation that happened at their house. So I think you can easily fall back on that, and it is serious. And there's many situations that you can point to. So I think that one is a pretty like non-negotiable. It's okay to be, um, you want to be non-judgmental and like open to hearing your kids' experiences, but in our house, that is a no-go.
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder too, like a complication of then as a parent, do you feel like, oh, like I don't want my kid to go to that person's house because I'm worried that then if they're there, this is what's going to be happening. And like, how do I navigate
Potentially.
that,
Yeah.
you know?
For sure. I mean, the part that you skipped over, she's talking about like culture, which I think that
Right.
this is important, right? Like, there are certain situations that you might allow your own child to, like, maybe you go to Mexico and you allow them to have a cocktail with a family at dinner, or you're in Italy and you allow them to have wine, or whatever, there's family traditions or whatever it might be, but allowing your own kid to consume a small amount of alcohol at a family event is very different than hosting a teen drinking party,
Definitely.
um, especially like
Yeah.
in the eyes of the law. And allowing other minors to consume alcohol on your property is very
One
different.
thing, that I saw on Instagram, I can't remember what account, but, it was about communicating with your teen with emojis if they feel
Mm.
like they're in an unsafe situation
Oh,
or they've
that's
had too
good.
much to
Oh,
drink
That's a
or
great
they feel
idea.
unsafe and they
I
don't wanna
love
call.
that.
Yeah.
And it's like they have a system of like using just emojis if they're like in a situation where they feel unsafe and need to get out for whatever reason. And
Mhm.
I keep thinking about that because I think that that
It's
would
a really good
be,
idea.
yeah, I just like, I like that
It's
idea.
like a little code.
Yeah. A little code. Yeah. That you
Mhm.
have. Um,
And,
but yeah, this
like,
is
always telling your kid that you can be the bad guy, right? Like, if they're uncomfortable in a situation, they can easily be like, "Oh my god, my mom won't stop calling or texting me, like, she's so annoying, I have to go home, like, I am
Yeah.
so mad at her." If that's how it takes to get you out of something that makes you feel uncomfortable, that's always okay.
I also think
yeah.
the fact that like this person's teen is sharing this with her is
Yeah,
really
that's a strength.
wonderful and a sign that like she trusts her parent to be able to
Mhm.
have these conversations. And so I think like continuing to be non-judgmental and open to listening and providing like feedback and support is going to allow your team to continue to feel like they can come to you
Yeah.
with these kinds of
And
things.
also, like, it also is probably confusing for the teen. They're trying to figure it out, like, why do some parents allow it? And it seems totally fine at their house, and then why is it not okay at my house? And just explaining that and having that be understood as how dangerous it is.
Right.
Why can they do it there?
Totally, totally. I feel like I that comes up with little kids all the time. They're like, "Well, their mom lets them da 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 da." It's
Exactly.
always like, well, people have different rules at different houses, you know? All right, question number 3.
Okay.
I just was reading this one and it makes me laugh because it says, "Do you have a roadmap?" And we like have a visual that's shaped like a roadmap, which is funny. So, Jordan
I
from Santa
also
South.
wait, really fast. I saw
Yeah.
you smile, like, as if you were reading something, and I was so curious what it was because you had,
You
like, a
got
little
curious?
smile.
A little
Yeah,
glint in my
and I was
puppy
like
little eyes.
yeah, I was like, "I wonder what she just saw show up that's so funny." Like, I
Well, I
have
was
to
just like, the
know.
wording of it is so funny. Like, it's literally it's drawn like a roadmap, which is funny. So Jordan from Santa Fe,
It's because
California.
I
I'm
did that.
curious. Huh?
I'm the one who did that. I added those notes
You
in.
made that activity.
No, okay, never mind.
Okay,
Alright.
Jordan from Santa Fe, California. I'm curious, how do you actually give middle and high schoolers more freedom without losing your mind? For example, at what age do you let them roam the mall with friends or stay out later with peers? If you have a sort of roadmap for granting independence as they get older, I'd love to hear it. So, yes, we do have a roadmap.
We
We have a
do.
whole thing that shows like here are like obviously all developmental stages are kid dependent, but we have like typical development for kind of like tweeny years, middle adolescence, and late adolescence. So I think that it's super normal to feel nervous about this person going out into the world and making choices that you don't really know what they might be, right? Like kids on e-bikes not wearing helmets scares me half to
Oh,
death.
so
Um,
scary.
There's lots of things that teenagers can do that are terrifying, and we have to give them some independence. So, yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on this one?
One thought I have is like, whatever the initial situation is that you're going to allow your child to do, like talking through different scenarios that might come up so
Mhm.
that they are prepared if something goes askew. And then maybe you feel like have kind of set them up for success. So like if it's, you're dropping your kid off at the mall to roam with their friends, like what are different things that might come up that could be unsafe? Like
Mhm.
what if your phone dies and you have no way to get in touch with me? Or what if like somebody comes up to you that seems unsafe and they ask you, to like come with them or to
Into
if
a
you want to
dressing room.
yeah, or to be like friends with
Right.
them on
Social
Instagram and
media.
they seem older, or what if
Yeah.
one of the friends that you're with wants to like, steal something from a store that you're in. Just like
Yeah,
talking through potential different scenarios because I think that as, teenagers when you're experiencing things for the first time, you don't know when you're in the moment how you're going to react, and you might
Mhm.
not even know that these things could happen, but as adults we do know what might come up, and so being able to sit with your child and kind of like talk through those different things might ease your mind because you're setting your kid up for what to do in those different scenarios.
totally. And I think too at Cultivating Roots, we always say like, you know your kid best. And so
Mhm.
you know what your kid is capable of, what skills they have, and how to apply that to new situations that they're going to be in. So really, you know your kid best in terms of when things are appropriate. And so it might be different from kid to kid that you have. And yeah, I just wanted to add that little tidbit.
Yeah, it's interesting, Leah, as you were talking, I realized like this is why we have to have independence as teenagers, right? Like I was just having a therapy session before this and I was talking to a girl who's about to go to college and we were talking about this really hard thing that she's going through she's like, this is such bad timing because I'm about to leave. I'm like, yeah, and also you're like dealing with this right now while you're still at home and you still have the support, like you're not dealing with it in 2 weeks when you're gone. And so I think that that is so important. Like not only are the pre-conversations important, but we do want kids to have these independent experiences so that we can have those post conversations so that when they're
Right.
out in the world experiencing things that are complicated and sticky, they can come home and talk to their safe adults. And they're not, you know, we don't want kids that are so sheltered at 20 that they don't know how to navigate things in the world that
Yeah.
they need to navigate. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's scary to let them go out in the world and be exposed to potential dangers.
But that's your
But what's
job as a
scarier,
parent.
and what's scarier is a kid that doesn't know how to handle potential
Yeah.
dangers, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
dangers are going to exist no matter what. We want kids that are equipped to be able to navigate and solve problems, not kids that don't ever face problems.
Right.
Right.
And so
100%.
by by giving them independence and freedom, we're helping them build that resiliency and those skills to be able to navigate the challenges that might come up. So I think if like a little preview to a roadmap might be middle school, letting them, have friends over and have supervised things and like kind of shorter independent outings. Maybe they're going out to a park for a few hours in the middle of the day on a weekend. I love there's a park right by my house and there's always this kid that's like out there with his bike and I see him like he's waiting, waiting, waiting. And then like sometimes his friends show up and he's so happy to be with his friends. And then, but it's just so cute. I'm like, I don't know the ins and outs of how that whole process gets started, but it's really cute to see them.
That
They're
is
just like
cute.
hanging out at the park. And then early high school, having those longer hangouts, peers, later curfews, more independence in their own decision making. Upper high school, we want them to kind of practice for adulthood, right?
Yeah. Have a job, have their
Maybe take the
license, or be
ferry.
able to get around. Yeah, public
Take the
transportation on their own.
managing their own schedule.
Yeah. Maybe
Having
making
their
some of their
own
own
checking
appointments.
account. Yeah, making
Hmm.
appointments.
Yeah, I remember my friend and I used to walk all around like our town when we were like 15.
That's what we used to do.
We
I
would just
know.
walk for hours. We'd like
We would
walk to
just walk.
Target, which was like 4 miles away because we could.
Yeah.
I
So
know. I think
doing,
back on some of the things that we did, and I'm like, I feel like I would be so anxious as a parent to let
oh
my
my
kid
God,
do
I used
that.
to
And we
drive
didn't
to
even
Santa
have like phones
Cruz.
that you could track people
Right.
and like all these
People.
I
things.
know.
But I guess
It's
you weren't as
We, you
maybe you
guys
just
want
weren't
to
as
hear,
worried.
right.
we can
What?
end on this, but I do have a funny
What?
story.
I
So
would
you guys have
love
met,
nothing more than to hear it.
Yeah.
okay, you guys have met my
Okay.
friends. Shout out to Jenna and Alexa.
Yes.
I did not go on this trip, but this is one of my favorite stories about them. Um, when they were in high school, they decided that they were going to wake up super early because they wanted to see the sunrise over the beach. And
Wow,
so
that
they
sounds
woke
like
up,
such like a high school
uh-huh.
Such a high
So they
school.
woke up
idea.
at like 3 or 4 in the morning and drove all the way to Santa Cruz to watch the sunrise. But the
Wait,
sunrise
from
just
Lodi?
Yeah, but the sun does not rise over the Pacific Ocean. It sets over the Pacific Ocean.
So it's just dark on the beach.
I
Were
mean,
they
the sun rose.
confused?
The sun rose, but not over the ocean. It
Like,
sets
were
over.
they
We
confused
live
and
in
didn't figure
California.
it out until
They
later?
didn't
Or were they
figure it out.
there
I
and they
think
were
they didn't figure it
like,
out till they got there, but I mean, they still saw a sunrise.
yeah,
It just makes me
what
laugh that
they
they like
imagined?
drove all the way to the beach to watch the sunrise, but it's the wrong direction.
Wow.
Oh my Lord.
But you know what? They learned from that
They
Yes.
learned.
experience and they had that
Yes.
independence
They
and
problem solved and probably tried it again at a different place.
exactly. They've seen
Yeah.
many sunrises in many different places
I'm
since then,
sure
but
they have.
it's those like fun little experiences that
Yeah.
that I think are important to your development and your being able to navigate the world and feeling good about yourself builds confidence too.
Definitely.
Yes. Yes.
All right,
All
girlies,
right.
should we head to bed? We're gonna
Okay.
Yes.
sign off and we will talk to you all next week. If you want
But
to
let's
follow
let
us,
people know. Yeah.
please do. We're at Cultivating Roots, CultivatenRoots on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, on our website. We have tons of free resources, blogs.
If you sign up for our email list, you'll get a free downloadable. Also, if you have a question that you would like to submit, we've added a box on our website.
Under contact.
Where do you go? Okay, contacts.
Yeah, so under
go to
contact, you
contact.
can reach out to us for anything on
Or you
that
could DM
form.
us on Instagram.
DM us
Yeah.
on Instagram. That's right.
But we
All
want to hear
right.
from you.
Have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.